We're here with Chris Carinate. He is a rapper musician.
Yeah, you can say a rapper musician.
What do you identify with? Go ahead.
Well, I guess the way that I really attack, I'm a musician at heart, and the way that I attack my music, whether it's rapping or playing, is more in the angle from a percussionist. Just music can be made just playing on anything, so that's how I attack it. So really at heart, I'd say I'm a percussionist, and that's also how I attack when I rap, you know, just the flow, the constant beat, the changes. So I'm an all-around musician. I'd say I'm a musician at heart.
What kind of projects are you working on now?
Now I have a ton of different projects all over the place. So I'm working with, I'm in a couple of different bands. Shout out to Party After, that's my personal favorite. I also work with a couple of different artists. I have working on an acoustic album, two acoustic albums, and I'm working on an album for myself. And I'm launching, it's called Bedrock Music, which is just a big music company where it has artists from all different walks of life. So it's hip hop, there's pop in there, there's some classical music in there. So yeah, just all around, that's kind of where my focus has been.
That's good that you could collabo with all those. I feel like that's another centralized theme that we all have, especially in Staten Island, because we're all trying to come up and get on the map at the same time. That everyone's just like kind of holding hands in a sense, and like, I'm doing this, so you should do this. And I think that's kind of how we have to be to make the most noise and really get up there. Where do you get your inspiration from?
I would say mostly from, well, I mean, of course it comes from within, you know, because the way that I approach music is just being as real as possible. I think that's reflective in the music. You hear honesty. And also the people around me that I work with, they give me so much inspiration, just things that are said in conversation, how they just, maybe see a certain, conversation or a certain angle on something that I don't see, so that makes me have to step out of my box and look around on someone else's angle and kind of, then piece together like a whole big puzzle that way.
Perspective is important, and I think inspiration is like a domino effect.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing stuff around you, like, I want to do stuff too.
Yeah, of course, because no one wants to get shown up, and when you see someone doing well, that motivates you to want to do well as well.
As long as it's not in a negative way.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So today we're centralizing talking about like creativity in the public. So do you think what the public wants, and you being someone that's an artist in the public eye, does what they want or what they demand, does it affect how you kind of go about what you make?
I think it depends on the project. Personally, like I said, I like to be as honest and as real as possible. But every song, I think every song or everything I said has its place. So even a club banger that has no real direct message still has its purpose. People sometimes want to wild out. People want to throw their hands up and just go down. So but if you try to give too much of just what people want to hear, you're not really giving yourself out, and you're not letting other people draw from your own inspiration. You're just kind of falling into just saturating the whole music scene, So, but I think it is important, to not be so self-absorbed in your own message that you also have to step out of your box, and you have to look from another perspective and see how people draw inspiration or how people see a certain thing.
I think that's really important that you said that, because to be able to put yourself into what you're doing is automatically going to spark a passion that people do recognize, but you have, at the same time, you have to be able to, for them to identify with it. And I think the things that people can identify with, they'll hold closer to them. So whereas if you have just a club banger, like you said, or like a pop song that's on the radio now, in a year from now, no one's going to remember it. But if someone can identify with that song and they hold close to it, a year from now, they'll remember it. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
So did you receive any training for this, or did you go to school for it, or?
Yeah, actually, when I was in high school, I was blessed with the opportunity to go to Mercersburg Academy in Pennsylvania. So I kind of took a little bit of a different route. And while I was there, I didn't actually receive it from classes, but actually one of my friends was a drummer. That's where I began everything. And instead of putting me directly on a drum set, he taught me as a teacher. You know, I had a pad. You know, I had to start writing out music, and he wouldn't let me leave the pad for almost a year. I didn't get on a drum set for a whole entire year, and I was taking classes with him almost twice a week. And that's why I attack everything as a percussion instrument. And then formal training, you know, when I'm rapping, there's no specific formal training in a sense of sitting down in a classroom, but you know, when you step into a cypher, you know, when people start freestyling, I think that's really where your training is. That's where that's where the streets, baby. That's where it is. Yeah, so you know, definitely just surrounding yourself by musicians. That's you're gonna get your training, because you're gonna know. From when I started not when I started, but from a year ago to now, you know, just in a year's time, you know, I've working with different musicians and seeing how they attack it and how they approach music. I mean, that is training in itself, you know, because you learn more than you would ever learn than sitting in a classroom, because you learn from not just from one perspective, from one teacher, but all around, and just seeing how each person approaches music, and it really opens up your mind to how you approach it.
So experience is the best way of learning.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yes.
So what is something we could see from you in the future? The near future.
Okay, near future, Bedrock Music, we're launching it. It's done, it's happening. A lot of the projects that I'm working on are they're private links, so I can't actually release them yet because we're in contract talks. And I can't shout out any specific names.
So many secrets.
I can't do it. But soon I'll have at least this next year coming up. I'm gonna have at least 3 albums come out, 1 for myself, 2 EPs for separate people, and an instrumental album that I am really looking forward to doing.
That's great. We're so excited to see that from you. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Chris Carinanthi, Instagram, Mr. Chris Keys. My SoundCloud and Twitter, Bedrock Music. SoundCloud, a lot of the tracks are private because they're in contract talks right now, so can't release them yet, but very soon we will open everything up.
So we're here, we're pioneering, and we're making noise. Think out of the box, and don't forget, swag dirty.
Swag dirty. Already after, shout out.
I'm totally stealing that from you.